What is up, everybody, and welcome to FLW videos. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about anything and everything centered around the Eevee Community Day weekend that's actually coming up next weekend in Pokemon Go. We'll of course be establishing a guide, talking about some tips, and then finally I'll tell you anything and everything that I plan to do throughout the weekend. And believe it or not, the Eevee Community Day has a lot of interesting things that we can of course talk about, such as what Eeveelution is going to be the most important one to focus on, and then even talking about the Community Day box, which is going to feature 2 elite TMs, which is crazy, something that we typically don't see in Pokemon Go. But of course, we will be talking about that. So if you do enjoy this episode, make sure to turn that like button shiny, and of course subscribe if you want to stay up to date on all Pokemon Go news. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the video. So the first thing that we need to talk about are bonuses that start before the event and extend after the event. So technically on August 13th, which is a Friday, until Monday, August 16th, 10 a.m. PDT time, we are going to get the following bonuses that we will talk about. And yes, it is PDT time and not your local time, unless you're in PDT time. Trust me, I hate it when Pokemon Go does this because you have to translate time zones and stuff. But for example, for the central time zone in the US, we're 2 hours ahead of PDT time, so it's going to be 12 p.m. where the bonuses start on Friday. Of course, you have to translate, but if you're not really sure, but you're a little hesitant, you don't want to accidentally jump the gun and evolve up to an Eeveelution and you end up not getting the Community Day exclusive move, just wait until you get the special timed research in your game. Once you get this, because this will start when the bonuses start, you officially know that you are good to go. Whatever Eevee you evolve is going to get the Community Day exclusive move. I recommend this for sure. So let's go and talk about some of the other bonuses. Now, one of the biggest ones is probably going to be Sylveon, where instead of interacting 70 times with your buddy to evolve up to a Sylveon, you're only going to have to interact 7 times with your buddy to be able to evolve up to a Sylveon. Now, this is huge because I myself only evolved up to 1 Sylveon, and that was just using the name trick, because when I heard 70 buddy interactions, I didn't even start on that because it just felt so tedious to me to be able to do that, especially thinking about getting like an entire team of Sylveon. But instead, this is going to be the time. And if you want to look at it from a discount perspective, you can basically get 90% off of your buddy interactions to get yourself a Sylveon. Now, if you're out there and you want to be able to do this quickly, just keep in mind you can change your buddy up to 20 times throughout a day. So if you've got a couple of them that you want to evolve up to a Sylveon, you can go in there, take a picture, feed the Pokemon, play with it, do a couple battles, rotate to another one, and rotate back. Every time you rotate, you can refeed the Pokemon, retake a picture, do all of that stuff. So you can really get this done pretty quickly. I'm probably going to start that on Friday and just kind of knock them out. But there is a little bit of a catch to this. In order for you to take advantage of this discount, which I do highly recommend, you are, on the flip side of it, going to end up getting the Community Day exclusive move. Now, I know that sounds weird for me to say that it's kind of a catch, but you're going to be getting the move Psyshock. Now, Psyshock is good if you're interested in using Sylveon from the PvP side, but if you're only interested in Sylveon from the raid side, you're going to want to use Sylveon as a pure fairy type attacker. Now, normally I would recommend just unlocking a secondary charge move, keeping the Community Day exclusive move, and then unlocking the one that you may use for something else. But Eevee costs 75,000 Stardust to unlock a secondary charge move, which is unfortunate because that does cost a lot. So I don't know if that's the best recommendation. But basically, if you plan to use Sylveon for PvP, keep Psyshock. If you don't and just want to use it as a pure fairy type attacker, go ahead and evolve it throughout this weekend so that you can take advantage of that 90% discount on those buddy hearts, and just be ready to be able to TM away Psyshock or unlock a secondary charge move to get the ideal fairy type move. So that's something at least worth mentioning, and something that you're going to have to kind of keep in your mind throughout this event. Not all these moves are great, and if you are interested in the specific moveset and want to get more of a deep dive on it, I did that. I actually covered an Eeveelution Community Day moveset deep dive. I'll put a link to that in the description if you want to check that out. So of course, moving on, we are going to be getting that special research that will give us a Glacial lure module, and then also a Mossy lure module, which is great for us to use for Leafeon and Glaceon. But like I said before, the movesets aren't necessarily good, so maybe you go ahead and get yourself one for Leafeon because it's an improvement, but For a Pokemon like Glaceon, if you don't want Water Pulse, just hold on to your Glacial lure module and just evolve to Glaceon after the event is completely over. That way you can have a chance at getting yourself that Ice type quick move or Ice type charge move instead, and then you can save yourself some TMs that way. That's at least my opinion, and it's really going to depending upon what you are interested in. But some of these you may want to skip, but I highly recommend you to check out that deep dive. There's just too much information to cover it in this actual episode. So of course, I'll push you off on that. So beyond just those bonuses, what's going to end up happening is we are going to still have the typical community day hours from 11 a.m. until 5 p.m. and it is within your local time on Saturday and on Sunday. And when we take a look at it, the first thing that we have going on is 3 hours of incense and lures. That's always nice to kind of have that. So you're going to have to just pop 2 per event if you want to get it throughout the entire 6 hours. And then we've got 1/4 hatching distance. Now, at least in my opinion, I don't plan on using many incubators, but if you really want to kind of step up your Stardust game, this is a way to really gain some Stardust by using a ton of incubators. But at least for me, because it's 1/4 distance, I'm probably just going to stick to the regular free incubator. But of course, I'm just mentioning it just so you can kind of decide. There's going to be photo bombs if you want to get some extra Eevees. I don't see that as like too big of a benefit. And then there's special research where you're going to get some extra Eevees out of it, some potential Stardust. So not too much coming out of this, at least in my opinion. You could take advantage of this. A lot of people think about eggs as far as the Pokemon itself, but keep in mind it also has Stardust along with it. So I think that that's kind of like a cool way of looking at it. So anyways, if we go ahead and scroll down to the Pokemon, we'll briefly talk about it. I think that these 3 Pokemon are great from the raid side, but you're gonna have to use a different moveset beyond this. So just keep that in mind in that particular case. And then PvP, you do want to go with the moveset. So a Psychic Umbreon makes a lot of sense. I would not TM my last resort Umbreon over to a Psychic. I would just have both of them if you can. And then with Sylveon, having that move Psyshock is going to be great as well for PvP alone. So if we go ahead and scroll down, we can cover a couple of final tips here. One of them is using Mega Pokemon to get yourself extra candy for every Eevee that you catch. And that's because you've got Mega Pidgeot and Mega Lopunny end up being part normal type, and Eevee being a normal type Pokemon, you're going to be able to get an extra candy for everyone that you catch. So if you're really in need for extra candy, especially if you've been like converting them over to XLs or something, then it could be great if you plan to get out there and grind throughout the weekend. So I at least want to mention that. And then finally, we've got the Community Day box. The Community Day box is a very interesting topic to kind of talk about because we've got 2 elite TMs being made available, and typically we only see 1. So this can be very tempting. And if you're interested in the whole Heroes Niantic, you've maybe considered moving over to free to play and potentially boycotting. And of course, boycotting can be done in many different ways. It's maybe not playing the game, or maybe playing free to play, or committing to spending less money than you normally would. I mean, that can manifest in a lot of different ways. But let's just be honest here. This is an extremely tempting Community Day bundle for me, to be honest, because I skipped 8 months, took a break or whatever, and to get access to 2 elite charge teams, I always thought it was messed up that they would, kind of put one in the Community Day box, and you're basically buying an elite charge team or an elite fast team. But the fact that we're getting 2, that's something that we haven't seen before. But I'm gonna be strong. I'm gonna be strong for you. I'm gonna commit to not buying this box, and I'm telling you right now, it is very tempting for me to buy this box, but I do believe in the message. We're not going to hear anything supposedly until September 1st. That's at least what the blog said. If you haven't read the blog, I can put a link to it in the description of them kind of responding to us and everything. I'm going to hold out on it. I'm telling you right now, I'm very tempted for this. I think this Community Day weekend will be a lot of fun. Trust me, it will be a ton of fun, but that's going to be a tempting thing, is that Community Day box. I'm committing to you right now, I am not going to buy it, even though I'm very tempted to buy it, and I do think there is a lot of value. If you're not worried about committing to all of that stuff related to Hero Niantic, I'm telling you right now, I do think it is probably one of the better deals that we have seen in the past to get 2 TMs or elite TMs out of this. So definitely consider doing that. And then one final tip that we could probably give is probably centered around the Pokemon Espeon. and then Umbreon, because you're gonna have to walk. Shadow Ball does not perform well for Espeon, so I personally would skip it, and then of course evolve Umbreon. And if you don't know the trick, you have to make sure that you leave it set as your buddy, and then you have to evolve it at night after you do the 10-kilometer distance to be able to evolve up to an Umbreon. But luckily for us, Pokemon Go has updated it, and it will now officially show what Eeveelution you would get if you were to evolve it, which is so nice. That way you don't make any mistake. But I personally would prioritize Umbreon over Espeon as far as walking is concerned. But anyways, that just about wraps up the video. I would love to know what you think about the Eevee Community Day weekend. What are your plans? Which Pokemon do you want to focus on the most? Are you even focused on the Pokemon, or is it something else? Anything and everything, let me know in the comment section below. And of course, I will see you next time, but not without giving a huge shout out to the supporters over at Patreon, the members on YouTube. Thank you so much. If you want to support my channel and you want to connect with other Pokemon Go players, make sure to check out the link in the description to the Patreon. We've got an exclusive Discord server. We talk Pokemon Go, coordinate for raids, and so much more. But anyways, thank you so much, and I will see you next time.